Chronicles of a Play Therapist podcast is raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic, discussing mental health from a play therapy specialization, including trends, treatment approaches and techniques, theory, and the business of psychotherapy practice. Get ready to learn and play with your host, licensed clinical social worker and registered play therapist supervisor, Althea T. Simpson.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Chronicles of a Play Therapist podcast. I am your host, Althea T. Simpson, licensed clinical social worker and registered play therapist supervisor. I am the founder of Brighter Day Therapeutic Solutions, a trauma-focused practice in Northern Virginia, and the founder of Unicorn Life Play Therapy. All December, remember, we will be focusing on the business of psychotherapy practice. I have an undergrad in business management, an MBA in marketing. I have dual social work degrees, which is macro organizational leadership, and micro, which is the clinical part. And I'm 3 classes and a dissertation away from receiving my doctorate degree in business psychology consulting. So I said all of that to say, because I don't want you to think I'm operating outside of my knowledge area. That would just be very janky. So the purpose of business of psychology practice episodes is to bring awareness to the opportunities beyond traditional psychotherapy practice to diversify your income and monetize your skills to prevent sloppy service delivery and burnout from seeing an extremely high number of psychotherapy clients. When I read about people seeing 50 and 60 clients a week, I just want to take a vacation for them. But not knocking what you do. That's you. But for those who don't want to do that, this is what these episodes are for. So I have here today with me Sharvette Mitchell of Mitchell Productions, and I'm going to let Sharvette introduce herself, but I'm super excited that she's here today because you all listen to her. She's money in the bank. Now, listen, she's not going to give you all of her goodies, right? She's just going to open your eyes and make you aware of the importance of having a personal brand as a therapist. So Sharvette, thank you so much for being here today. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you, Althea. I'm excited to be here with you and your listeners. This is really an honor. And so I am Sharvette Mitchell, and I work with female entrepreneurs, and we sprinkle in a few lucky men to help them build their platforms and their personal brands. And so I'm really focused on the visibility and the marketing of my client's business. And I do that with one-on-one consulting and group coaching. And I am just in love with helping people raise their platforms and raise visibility about what they do so that they can draw and attract the types of clients that they want to work with. I love therapists. I've got probably 4 or 5 clients that are therapists. And so I do that, a lot of this with Facebook marketing and brand photo shoots and getting really clear about the different things that you can provide as products and services, even outside of your therapy world. Some people might know me from the Sharvette Mitchell radio show that has been internet radio show for about 13 years now, and it's simulcasted now on Facebook Live. And so I'm an author, I'm a speaker. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Sharvette. And so for those of you all who are wondering why we're talking about branding, a lot of therapists that I find, and like I said, I may not be as active in the groups anymore with posting, but I still read a lot of the things that are being posted. And so a lot of people confuse branding and marketing. And before you can get to the marketing piece, you have to brand yourself. Your branding is who you are as a person, as a company. So that's your brand. And then the marketing is how you build awareness. So you can't build awareness if people don't know who you are and you don't know who you are. So that's the reason why I wanted to have Sharvette here to talk more about branding and, your brand awareness. And one of the things, like I said, I have an MBA in marketing, and I received my marketing degree in 2002. Was it 2002 or 2004? One of those years. And so, but the past, I would say 9 to 10 years, maybe a little longer, I've just been focusing on psychotherapy. And so I kind of forgot about the whole marketing and branding part until I started working with you, Sharvette. It just reawakened the reason I went into marketing. I love market research. I want to know what drives people to buy certain brands and, how they take ownership, because people take ownership of their brands. Of other people's brands when they have that trust factor there. And that's what actually happened with Unicorn Life. I shared this and people tell me I shouldn't share this, but y'all know I'm transparent. Yeah, Unicorn Life came about because I saw a unicorn one day and I liked the colors. And that's how I came up with Unicorn Life Play Therapy. But over the years, so many people, Unicorn Life Training and Unicorn Life Play Therapy resonated with so many people. It was actually my audience that made me fall in love with my brand. It was my audience, because I was just like, oh, the colors are cool. It goes along with play therapy. It's bright, the pinks and the blues, and of course, purple. That's my favorite color. So that had to be thrown in there. But yeah, I fell in love with my brand because the people fell in love with my brand.
Wow. And they resonated. So that Unicorn Life resonated with your audience. And so that just strengthened, your mission around it.
It did. And then working with you, I'm going to tell you, money in the bank. So can I share with them how we met though, Sharvette?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So a couple years ago, I think it was probably July or August 2018, I was a VIP at a conference. And so after the morning speakers, we were waiting for lunch. So we were taking a break, and one of the other speakers was all like vibrant and loud and, just fun. Not saying you're not fun, Sharvette, but this is how this was.
I get it.
And so I looked at the table. I think I must have run to the restroom and came back in. And I looked at the table that he was at, and it was like a crowd of people at his table. He was laughing, dancing, showing a video and all of this stuff. And then you were just sitting at the table, clicking away on your phone by yourself. And I said, yeah, that's a little bit too busy for me over there. Let me slide on over here. And so I sat down and I introduced myself, and you asked me, what did I do? And I was like, well, I'm a play therapist, and y'all know me. I'll take any opportunity to talk about play therapy. Yeah. So we started chatting. And I can't remember how it came up, but I remember you asking me, how did I know if they knew about play therapy? And when I say they, I'm talking about Facebook, social media. And I remember gasping. And I was like, how could they not know about play therapy? But it turned out that they didn't. And so you wrote, but the most amazing thing and what made me trust you right away, because I've had some like janky coaches and stuff that didn't do what they said. But what made me trust you right away was like in less than 15 minutes, we didn't even talk for 15 minutes. You mapped out 3 steps for me to do. And I followed those steps like 1.5. I followed 1.5 of those steps, but my social media presence blossomed. Yeah. And I didn't even and until this day, I still never went back to do the rest of those steps that you gave me in 2018. But just doing that, my social media presence blossomed, right? So that's why I want you here to get them a little something, to get their whistle wet and everything. But yeah, they want to contact you. We're going to give them all of that information. But I wanted to make sure that they knew, there are so many levels to this, building your brand, starting your business, growing your business, and sustaining your business.
Yeah. So, and listen, you said so much right there. And I definitely remember that experience. We were in the DC, Northern Virginia area. And so it was so great to meet you that day. And what we were talking about when I mentioned, do people really know what play therapy is? And so sometimes as brand owners, business owners, you have to do education marketing. And so that was the tip that I was giving you to, get on social media, do live streaming to really educate your audience around what it is that you do, but also your area of expertise, because just like you gasped and said, they don't know about play therapy. And then when you got out there and kind of started digging in social media, you were like, oh yeah, you don't know.
They didn't know.
And I literally, Althea, gave this advice to a client yesterday who's in the financial services arena. And she deals with term life and whole life and all that. I said, you've got to get out and educate people because you're assuming that they know what all these terms are and they don't. And so that would be a great piece of advice for those that are listening, especially if they have a specialty area in therapy. But guess what? Just in therapy in general, because so many people have different preconceived notions about what happens in therapy. And then there are so many different specialties. So one thing that you can do in all kinds of social media platforms is kind of education marketing, educating your audience around the specialties that you offer or just therapy in general.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about that because like play therapy is a specialty area, but then you have therapists. Trauma is a broad area because I'm a trauma therapist. But there are so many trauma certifications or training modalities that I have not trained in. One, because I just haven't had an interest in those modalities, but I am trained in probably 5 other different trauma modalities.
Right.
So educating people about that. So like I favor NARM, which is neuroaffective relational model. But a lot of people, prefer EMDR, which is the eye movement desensitization processing, which I'm going to take that training now. And the only reason I'm going to take that training is because there's another play therapist who just got my eyes so open. She does it with play therapy. And I can't take her training because I haven't been trained in EMDR. So that's what's motivating me to get trained in EMDR, just so I can take her play therapy training. But there are so many different, like you said, specializations, and people don't know the differences.
Absolutely. And then there's still, depending if you are operating in the African-American community or people of color, then there's still some stigmas related to therapy. So then your branding is building the trust and gaining their trust so that they will even listen and pay attention and know that it's something for them. And so that's one of the real big things that you want to think about when you're establishing your brand or shining a light on your branding with marketing, is that you are really having to build that know, like, and trust factor. I talk about, that they know about you, they like you or like your business or your practice, and then they got to trust you, because then that's where there's an exchange of funds when the trust factor comes in.
And thank you for saying that, because a lot of people that I work with as a private practice business coach or consultant is that, people aren't purchasing from them. And it's like, people need to know you. And I remember you saying this because I had been out of marketing for a long time. And I remember you said people have to know you before they purchase from you. It's like developing a relationship. And so building that relationship is so important. And right now, I posted something the other day because I'm getting ready to do a innovations in business and psychotherapy private practice virtual conference. I'm calling it a humanitarian conference because there's no way for what I'm charging for this conference that I can afford all of the knockout speakers that's going to come in and do a full day, like 9 hours of training. So that's why I'm calling it a humanitarian virtual conference, because there's no way I could afford their fees. But it was my branding and my trust factor, even when I put it out there looking for people for the panel, the authors panel. And so I got over 100 responses. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for responding without even knowing what the hell I'm doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And a couple people responded, was like, Althea, we know that what you're doing, you're just brilliant. And, all of those things. And I was like, thank you so much. But it's my branding, it's my word, it's the trust factor I follow through, is integrity that's behind my brand.
Yes. And all of that, people can pick up on that. And so even, if there are people that are listening and they're saying, well, I'm in different directories, or I'm in Psychology Today, or wherever, therapists get listed.
Listen to you knowing about psychology.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of therapy. Listen, my last therapist had a baby and she didn't come back. So I'm a proponent of therapy. But even in those arenas, because I'm a consumer as well, we all can kind of look at our own behaviors. Even if you say, well, people are finding me in these different directories or what have you, they still are going to your website. If they're looking to see, is there any video? Now they might not find you on social media because you have, a separation maybe of your business, but even your website has to put in them some trust. It has a video. If you can put video on your website, that would help establish rapport quicker in the quickest way. Matter of fact, my OBGYN, I picked her from a group of doctors on the website because she had a video just sharing like her belief and philosophy, and I liked her video. And so again, even those that may be kind of relying on directories, please know that people are still going to go from that directory and still try to check you out and look you up.
Yeah, they do. They search, because I get clients that contact me and say, oh, I'm like, anything you want to know about me, or, you have any questions for me? Because one of the things I do not want therapists to forget is what we do is relational. And if you can't tell your client, and I say this over and over again, and y'all know I like food, so I always use a food reference. If you can't tell your client that you like peanut butter and jelly and grilled cheese sandwiches, or even grilled peanut butter and jelly, oh my God, that's so good. But anyway, then how are they supposed to develop a relationship with you? So when I ask them, is it anything you want to know about me? They like, oh, we didn't already saw you. We saw you have a conference. We saw this, we saw that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, if anything comes up along the way, just ask and I'll let you know if it's too personal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, even as we bridge from, okay, those that are working with one-on-one clients, but now maybe they want to do more paid speaking or get into corporate contracts or things of that nature, your brand is still incredibly important in the marketing, because then that helps establish your expertise. And that helps to lift up that what you're talking about. So even those that are saying, hey, I'm kind of departing from this one-on-one work, wanting to do some other things, or even some group consulting or things of that nature, then still your branding has to really lift up your expertise in those areas.
Yes. And that's why one of the things that I absolutely love that you say is having a personal brand is not a luxury, but a necessity. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and the importance of having a consistent and crisp visual brand?
Yeah. So I work off of a framework of 6 different components that I feel really help to establish and raise the visibility around your personal brand. And so one of the first things is, what is it that you actually offer? What are your products? What are your services? And being really clear on the type of work you want to do, who you want to do work with, the direction that your company is going. That's kind of foundational when we think about the brand, because if people are unclear about what they want to offer and who they want to work with, then you don't want to build on top of a rocky foundation. So the first component is getting really clear with your products and services, is who you want to serve and the direction that you're in now or where you want to go. Then the next thing that you do want to think about that's incredibly important is around your visual branding, which we do a lot in this space. So we got to be honest, like, people make an impression on what they see. And so visual branding includes your brand colors. It includes your logo that represents your therapy or your personal brand. Photography, huge proponent on doing full brand photo shoots.
Yes, that changed the game for me. I'm gonna tell you, it did. I just had little headshots, but when I did that full brand photo shoot, oh my goodness, it just changed the game for my brand.
I mean, you need more than a headshot. And, an example of your photo shoot, over 100 pictures, 2 or 3 looks, actually taking jackets on, taking jackets off, adding people into the photo shoot. You need really all of that as a part of your brand, even your social media graphics and the colors that you use on social media. And we're just still talking about number 2, which is visual branding. I shouldn't jump from your website for your practice and it's, teal and orange. And then on social media, I'm seeing fuchsia and black. Mm-hmm. So it should all be a cohesiveness, which helps to build that trust factor, because you look out of sync if you are all over the place with your coloring. And so that's the second component. Then we get into really content marketing. And so what are you saying on social media? Where is your voice? And that's a huge part around establishing your brand. Where's your voice? Are you doing live streaming? Are you creating videos? Are you sending emails to your current customers? Are you growing an email list? She's laughing. All of this is considered content marketing. And it definitely is a part of building and establishing your brand, because it's all about where is the voice of your brand? Where are people experiencing you? What are the words they're seeing? What are they experiencing when they come in contact with your brand?
Yes. And I'm laughing because, I struggle with email marketing, and I know that you're always saying that the money is in the emails. So every time you say that, I laugh because I still struggle with email marketing.
Yeah. And, a lot of people do, Althea, so you're not alone, but I want listeners right now to look in their phone. Well, don't leave the podcast, but look in your phone, look at your email. I promise you, if you shop Macy's, they send you an email every other day. If you shop Target, they're sending you an email every other day, and don't have the app, they're sending you a notification every day.
Yes.
Any of these places, they are not, because they know they got to stay top of mind so that the voice and the style of Macy's and Target. And so they don't care about getting on your nerves. They are going to email you every day.
And I think that's why I struggle with it, because every time I get that email or that text, I roll my eyes and like, how many times a week or a day are they going to email me or text me?
Yeah. And they don't care, because at some point you're going to click on the Target. And at some point you're going to click on the Macy's. Say, well, I don't need another pair of black shoes, but let me see what they're talking about. Let me see what coupon is in here. So they know they got a shot. If they keep doing it, it's going to open up. So that content marketing is definitely the social media, live streaming, email marketing. Also, we could throw in blogging, YouTube, all of that is kind of in that third bucket. And then once you're really clear on your products and services, who you're serving, the direction you want to go in around what you want to serve, and your visuals are great, you look great, you have, these assets really for your business, like logos and pictures. Now you're working on your content. So you've got content on social media, live streaming. Now there are 3 other components that help shine a light really on the first 3. So then number 4 is around speaking engagement. So those of you that are looking to grow your brand, you want to look for speaking opportunities within your field. And guess what? Outside of maybe the direct field, there are business conferences that would love to have therapists as guest experts, to talk about self-care and things of that nature. So look for or create speaking opportunities. And I think, Althea, you do a really great job of that, because you're hosting, oh my goodness, you just host a whole lot of different things that help you to create a speaking opportunity.
Yes, that I am huge for that, and I just was telling someone, I can't remember who it was the other day, that I am so glad. And I think that this is what makes all of the difference for me, is that I came from the business world into the psychotherapy world. So that thought of being a helping professional and not supposed to make money, that has never been a thought for me. Right. That's never been a mindset for me. And I want to encourage, mental health professionals, because we take on a lot. We have our own stuff, and then we take on a lot of stuff from our clients, and we need to be able to, shut that down sometimes. And just because we're in a helping profession does not mean that we should not make money or have the financial future that we want. And so that's what a lot of my events are geared around, is showing mental health professionals that you can still be a dynamic therapist, because I still see clients. I just only see 5 clients a week. Right. And then I've diversified my income with my products and services, my play therapy training institute, my conferences, and my coaching programs, all of those things. I've diversified my income where I can not only show up, but be present with my clients and not worrying about my finances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I heard April Franks say, who was a business strategist, we serve at a profit. Mm-hmm. So you can still have a mindset of I'm serving people, but you serve at a profit. And so I'm glad you brought up events, because really number 4 is kind of speaking and events together. So either participating in other people's events or looking for opportunities for you to create your own events. And that gives you leverage, that puts you in a leadership spotlight. Like you said, you put out a call for authors for your upcoming event, and over 100 100 and some, authors responded. Well, maybe all those 100 people didn't know about you and know about your brand, and now they do, because it highlighted you as a leader. You get media attention. And the beautiful thing is that we have traditional media. So everybody, ABC, NBC, all the major networks, or even the networks in your local area, that have these opportunities. But then there is what's called new media, which is what we're on. This is a prime example. Podcasts are considered new media, and there are podcast shows that have huge listeners and really great audiences. So you want to look for opportunities. Can you be featured on someone's podcast, or local radio, or local TV? Or you can do like Althea and me and just turn into media. So maybe it's time for you to have your own podcast.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that, because I know when I started my podcast, I got kind of discouraged because I would put out like, hey, I'm looking for someone to speak on this specific theory or on this topic. And I would get like really no hits. And then it was but then once people started listening to the podcast and, commenting about the podcast, and then people were like, hey, can I get on your podcast? Like, yeah, nah, because you ignored me the first time, just being honest. I could be professionally petty sometimes. Yeah. And it's like, you ignored me, you didn't respond. And now that you see other people, and that's the thing, they see other people like big names in play therapy on my podcast, and now they want to be on my podcast. Nah, because I tried to give it to you because these people are already recognized. My whole platform is about creating a platform for the underdog, for those who have talent, and they don't get the opportunities to showcase it. That's the whole platform for all of my events and all of my podcasts and all of that. But it's like, nah, you ignored me. And like, yeah, you didn't want to give me the time of day, or it wasn't worth your time. So yeah, sometimes, so be careful about your opportunities too. And yeah, people have to be careful about their opportunities and then come out of a dollar for dollar mindset. I can't stand that mindset where I have to have an immediate reward in order for me to do it. So if you want me to do something, then it's like you have to pay me X amount of dollars right now, not thinking about the building a relationship. And especially if you don't have, Sharvette, I'm big about people charging top shelf prices for shelf knowledge. You don't have the knowledge, you don't have and what trips people up for me is that like, okay, so you want me to pay you X amount of dollars, give me a 3-minute video, professional video of you speaking on this topic, or where's your speaker one sheet, and they don't have a clue as to what I'm talking about, but you want to charge me top dollar when I'm trying to build a relationship with you and offer you other opportunities. So I think it's important for therapists to come out of that dollar for dollar mindset too.
Yeah. And I'll say with media in particular, media begets media. It's not my quote. It's just commonly known in the industry. Media begets media. And so the real truth is that you are not going to show up well on Good Morning America, ABC, whoever, The Real, whoever you watch, if you don't take some media exposure leading up to that. You're not just going to jump to Good Morning America, because Good Morning America, if they get wind of you, they're going to look and see what other media coverage you have had to let them know that you're not going to flop on camera or you're not going to flop on radio. So all media attention, all media exposure is valued, it's worthy, and it should not be looked down on, because it really is just leading a pathway to when you get bigger media, you'll be ready.
See, she professional, y'all. Y'all know I get professional petty. She just told it to y'all the professional way. But I remember doing the TV One. I did a TV One interview, Radio One. Want to get it together, Radio One. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot to take a picture in front of the thing. Because all I was thinking when I was so excited when I left, I was like, I'm in my car and I was like, Sharvette, because I didn't take a picture in front of the logos. And that's a part of that visualization as well.
Absolutely. That's called social proof.
Yes.
And, so and sometimes, Althea, that's uncomfortable for people because they don't want want to feel like I'm bragging. I don't want to feel like I'm boasting. These things, your clients and those that want to work with you and get contracts with you are interested in, hey, you were on Radio 1, or they're interested in these things that you might feel, not you in particular, but someone listening might feel like, oh, that's bragging or boasting. No, you want to demonstrate, social proof that you have gotten, that these media outlets have deemed you. What happens is these media outlets, their brand gets connected to your brand. So yes. Any of the outlets, whether you think it's a huge outlet or even a smaller outlet, you're vetted, before you even come on a podcast. Even if it's somebody's up and coming podcast, they reached out, they're checking you out, and you want to use that opportunity.
Yeah. And the questions on the podcast, just so you all know, as we're talking about podcasting, the questions on the podcast has a purpose when you're filling out that interest form, because I know I've had people who was like, yeah, I don't want to fill out those questions. I'm like, okay, thank you so much.
And so then the sixth and kind of final part of the framework that I work with and that I created actually called the Platform Builder is around books and publication. And so as a therapist, you want to look for and get on your vision board and get on your dump list or whatever you have, either being in a book as far as a book collaboration or an anthology where you write a chapter or you contribute, or writing your own book. And that is going to really kind of cap these 6 different areas. If you're thinking about building and growing and establishing your platform, having a book printed, with your expertise in your story, it might even be your story, documented forever, in printed work. That's something that you want to work towards. Or, again, put on your list of, this is one thing that I want to do.
Yes. And so, like I said, y'all know I could be professionally petty. And for those who you didn't know, now you know. So I am a part of season 1 of your Platform Builders. Yes, it is officially on air. I know we joke around at your conference, all of my Platform Builders season 1 sisters. Yes. We joke around at your conferences because we need people to know that we kicked this thing off.
Yes, you all did. Will never be another season 1.
And so, but with your Platform Builders, like you said, you are a visionary lead author. I am in your book, Propel. I have a chapter, Rise to the Occasion, in your book, Propel. And then you just released Pour. And the next one is
Pursue.
Yes.
21 is Pursue. So I'm really excited about that. So I've been able to keep with the P's. Now, after 2021, all bets are off, but at least feel like I have a trilogy.
Okay. So tell us, I know you just went through the step of the Platform Builders or some of the importance of creating your brand. Tell us a little bit about a Platform Builders program. Like I said, it was amazing. I truly and thoroughly enjoyed being a part of the Platform Builders program. Like I said, it reignited my love for business and marketing, which has propelled the book that I'm in, propelled my brand. Oh my gosh. And it just has me like a thirst for more. That's why I reduced my client caseload, because I was like, listen, I want to do this more than I want to see clients. I still want to see clients because I love the trauma work that I do, but I love this as well. So I reduced my caseload. And sometimes, people see what I'm doing, but they don't understand the sacrifices that I make.
Right.
And so I make a lot of sacrifices to be able to build my business and my brand the way that I want it to be. But you and Platform Builders really reignited my love for business and marketing and branding. And so the Platform Builders program, it had so many components to it. And y'all, this is the one thing. And, one of the things I learned was to start looking at people with, like Sharvette said, your social proof and your receipts, because I lost a lot of money trying to build my brand, my business, taking it in a different direction because people did not show up. And they took my money, but they didn't show up and do what they said that they would do. So I was kind of hesitant to take a chance because I had just came off of something that I thought that was going to break me. And I remember God saying, try it again. And I was like, you crazy. He's like, try it again. And I kept going back and forth. And then finally I was just like, okay, I'm going to try it again. And I think I told you this, and I was so thankful that I didn't know that if you, and I'm getting emotional right now, that if you didn't show up and do what you said that you were going to do, I didn't know if that would have been the thing that made me give up and just break my complete spirit, my faith in people. But you showed up, you showed out, and you did more beyond what you said you were going to do. And the biggest thing for me was you putting me on, and I'm about to name drop, y'all.
Yes, name drop.
You put me on that panel with your business coach, Rachel. You put me on $1 million panel.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was like,
wait a minute, we got a name drop. You were on the panel with.
Well, I was going to go back and
you going there? Okay, go.
I was going to go back and do that. When you told me, my anxiety increased. For those who have listened to my podcast, they know that I have a trauma history of being psychologically and emotionally abused, saying that I wasn't going to be anything, that I was stupid, that I was dumb. And sometimes that stuff still comes up. And so your trauma is imprinted in you. You never get rid of it, but you can overcome it. But that doesn't mean it goes away. And so when you told me that, I got so much anxiety, and I was like, I don't belong on that panel. You said, yes, you do. But I was on the panel with Rachel, your business coach, Apostle Olive, right?
Yes.
And Sassy Jones.
Yes.
Who is, by the way, I know she don't listen to the podcast, but I'm still going to give her a shout out.
You never know.
Because she is from Richmond. Oh my gosh, she's so down to earth. And y'all, she's debuting on HSN today.
Yes.
Is it HSN or?
Yes, HSN. Yes. She debuted 9 a.m. The time of the taping of this. Yes.
Okay, yes. So she debuted and she was in Forbes because she organically, without any investments, built a multi-million-dollar company. And yes. I was on a panel with her, and to see her do that little side and that snap, yes. I knew I was doing the daggone thing on that panel.
Yes. And you belonged there. And that's one of the things that I really try my hardest when I work with clients, is if I have a window or an opportunity where I can push them forward, then that's what I do. And so you absolutely deserve to be on that panel. You showed up so well. You have pictures, you shared on your Facebook. I think a flashback came back. But yeah, absolutely, you knocked it out of the park, and that whole entire panel. And really, the Platform Builder program, it was a great kind of graduation, if you will, because we spent a year working together. And that program I have a 6-month option and a 12-month option. And enrolling literally right now, I only enroll once a year. And so enrollment is happening right now. And really, it's about confidently learning the skills and the strategies and the tools that you need to build your visibility and really power up your personal brand, power up your marketing. And those 6 components or 6 parts of a framework that I talk about, that is what I cover over the entire year. You get a full brand photo shoot. You get to write in a book. And I want to say this, I'm a graduate of Virginia Commonwealth University, and my degree is in marketing, but I spent 25 years in corporate America at a company called Capital One. Some of you might know them by What's in Your Wallet. And I spent a large amount of time with that company in training and development, consumer compliance division. When the 9/11 attacks happened, I was on the original task force around training, around all of the anti-money laundering things and privacy laws and all of that. And I was building my business on the side while I was kind of, working in corporate America. And I transitioned from corporate America February 2018. I walked away, no rich husband, no lottery win. I walked away and stepped full time into this business and have had 0 regrets, no looking back, more money in all of my accounts than I've ever had. People started asking, what did you do? How did you do it? What did you do? And really, when I thought about all the things that I was doing, it's really what I teach in the Platform Builder program. These 6 different areas and these 6 different frameworks is really, really what I did. And so I know that it helps to transform your personally and transform your business. And so people can find out more about it at platformbuilder.biz, platformbuilder.biz.
Yes. And did y'all hear her say all of her accounts? Because I caught that. All of her accounts. But yeah, and it's like, so therapists, they don't teach us about business, in school. It's all about sociology, social systems, ecosystems, psychotherapy. social work, whatever your discipline is, because we have a number of disciplines and they really don't teach about the business part of it. And more people are getting out of school. And that's why I'm on a mission to help people. They're getting out of school. They wanting to start these practices and then they get discouraged because they're not where they want to be. They look at where other people are. And what I want people to know is that it doesn't, for some people, it may happen overnight, but you still have to put in the work. Like me, my business was so organic. I stepped into it. I literally stepped into it. And every time I tried to leave, God was like, no. And I knew that I was qualified to be in the business world because at 22 years old, I worked for Smith Buckland and Associates, one of the largest association management firms. And I was running multi-million dollar contracts, multi-million dollar accounts and learning how to do marketing. I was like so blessed to be in a program, in school, but also working with an agency that allowed me to be a part of the market because we had our own marketing department, but I had an interest and they allowed me to be a part of the marketing campaigns for my accounts. So I knew that I was qualified to be in the business world, but it was like, no, this is where I want you. And as soon as I stopped running, and I'm just going to say this, some days I still want to walk away. I think I felt like that 3 months ago. I wanted to walk away, but I also have to take a step back and, sit with where I am, because when I get in those moments that I want to walk away and I sit in it, I realize that I'm out of alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, wow.
So I've learned to just say, okay, God, that child who doesn't listen, that got to push back and everything. But I've been blessed because I absolutely love what I do, but you have to educate yourself. You have to pour into yourself. It's a self-investment. You have to invest in yourself.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, when you invest, you expect a return.
Yes.
So you're not throwing money out of the window or a certain money on fire. When you invest anything in yourself, in whatever, you expect a return.
Yes, absolutely. That's that return on investment. And you want to make sure that you're getting a return on investment. And it's that with the return on investment is the cost versus the reward. These are the decisions that you make every day in your business. So you want to invest your limited resources, which is your money, your time, and your effort. And then you want it to pay off. You invested in things that's going to pay off the most. And that's where I go back to that dollar for dollar mindset. Some of it is not going to be an immediate reward, right? And so, but for therapists, it's like you have to have the right marketing strategies and the right target audience to grow your practice. And that includes diversifying it.
Yes. And the right mindset.
And the right mindset. You have to have the right mindset. Stop wanting stuff for free. And I said this, and I think from your conference last week, the Hey Girl, Hey pop-up conference, 5th annual pop-up conference, I did a post with you sitting on stage and I was like, you say this all the time. Everybody is not your client or your customer, and let your prices say no for you. Right. And I love that because I used to get tangled up so much with people trying to haggle me and feeling like I owed everybody a response because they reached out. And I had to realize that everyone is not my client. Everyone is not my customer. And there is someone in your price bracket. But if you're not willing to pay what the fee or the rate is, then you need to find someone in your price bracket or it's not your time. There have been a lot of opportunities I had to pass up on because I didn't want anything less or janky, but I couldn't afford what I wanted. So I had to let it pass. But I tell you, every time I had to do that, something else came around that was better for me and what I wanted to do. Absolutely. I totally agree. Yes. So, well, thank you. Oh my God. Is it anything else that you wanted to talk about before we end, Sharvette? I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me and for, all of your listeners. And I'll just leave with my favorite quote from H. Jackson Brown Jr. and that is opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor.
Yes. And so anyone that want to reach out to Sharvette, what's your website again, Sharvette?
Yeah, they can go to sharvettemitchell.com. So just my name, sharvettemitchell.com, will get you to my main site that has all the information about all the services and platform builder and the radio show and all of that blog and resources. So sharvettemitchell.com.
And y'all, she got some free resources on her website too. So I just wanted to let you all know that, because free is not always bad, but she's offering it. You don't contact people and say, hey, can I get this for free, or can you reduce your prices? I always tell people, if somebody's going to reduce their prices or offer it for free, you will know that up front.
Right.
You will know that up front. And so all of her information will be in the show notes, where you can just click the links as well. Thank you again so much, Sharvette, for being here. Everyone, don't forget, Chronicles of a Play Therapist podcast clinical content will be back in January 2021. And if you need play therapy CEs, I got something for you. January 2021, you will be able to listen to the podcast and get 1 contact hours play therapy CE by taking the quiz. So get those non-contact hours in. And we are at the end of today's informational podcast, Chronicles of a Play Therapist, the Business of Psychotherapy edition. I am your host, Althea T. Simpson, licensed clinical social worker and registered play therapist supervisor. Thank you for playing, and until next time, play well.
Chronicles of a Play Therapist is sponsored by Unicorn Life Play Therapy Academy, where play therapy is magical. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe in your favorite podcast app and follow us on YouTube. Chronicles of a Play Therapist is intellectual property of Althea T. Simpson. All rights reserved.